You won't believe the tea we're spilling today. From secret breakups to shocking lies, this is Unreal Tea. Hit subscribe before the drama starts. Welcome everyone, Sister Wives, Season 19 is over. And honestly, viewers were expecting fireworks, but what we received was a subtle meltdown. But beneath the veil of the last tell-all, there was one voice slicing through the haze with unfiltered candor. Christine's new beau, David. And what he said wasn't only personal, it was incendiary. David approaches polygamy with a seldom-seen lens to the dark underside. He doesn't come from opinion, telling us instead from first-hand, visceral experience. With two older sisters who fled polygamous colonies in Mexico, different from the Liberan enclave Christine's family was a part of, David has witnessed the devastation polygamous men are left to create. When host Sukanya Krishnan tried to couch polygamy in a balanced, humanizing perspective, David was unforgiving. While Suki sought to keep the discussion even-steven, David brought reality crashing down. He called out polygamy for what it is: emotional warfare masquerading as religious faith. In David's estimation, the men within these systems play the women against each other not by chance, but intentionally. They adore it, David explained bluntly. They adore seeing the women fight. It empowers them. It puts them in control. This wasn't merely a criticism of the format. It was an accusation. And he wasn't guessing. David has dated women who broke out of polygamy. He's talked to men within those cult-like groups. And his sisters? Scathed, scarred, traumatized. A man unafraid to speak truth. As David told the camera, when he began dating Christine, he was reluctant. I've dated ex-polygamous women before, and they were devastated emotionally. The trauma runs deep. But Christine? She was a diamond in the rough. He wouldn't play the TLC game, the one where everybody dances around the truth, hoping to make it nice enough for a Sunday night audience. David broke that fantasy. And he's right. It's a pattern. The women in these communities are taught to stifle all emotions, all protests, all calls for help. They're not allowed to feel, David said. Just bottle it all up. The men feed off of it. They get turned on by that control. Kody Brown, the father figure at the center of Sister Wives, is one of those. As David says, Kody wasn't only in a bad system. He liked the system. He enjoyed it. He wanted the women to compete for his love, attention, approval. David wasn't the only one who made that observation. Christine herself has indicated as much. And seeing Kody on the tell-all only served to reinforce David's assertion. Kody proves David right. Even today, after 3 of his wives have abandoned him, Kody's brain remains warped in competition. He doesn't reflect. He projects. When Christine or Janelle tell their truth, Kody's reflex is to spin it as jealousy. He actually thinks, or wishes to think, that Christine is still measuring herself against Robyn, that she departed due to not being able to measure up. It's condescending, it's delusional, and it's the very kind of mental contortionists that narcissistic men in polygamous regimes use to maintain their fragile egos. Kody can't handle the fact that these women just outgrew him, that they woke up, that they pierced the veil and chose themselves. Christine doesn't want to be Robyn. She doesn't even want to be a polygamist. She wants someone who listens, who respects her, who allows her to feel. David provides that. The damage is real, the abuse is deep. David told of how much polygamy devastates women, not only emotionally, but psychologically. So many end up with extreme trauma. Some of them have been sexually abused, physically abused, psychologically manipulated, gaslighted, controlled to a degree that they don't know who they are when they leave. These women are broken, David explained with grim candor. It takes years to unlearn that kind of control. And it wasn't all talk. David's own sisters ran from polygamy. One remains in therapy, one won't talk about it, the wounds are deep. And yet, Kody, even today, demands that Christine shut up, be quiet, tell no truth. Why? Because if Christine speaks, the mask is removed. The power is lost. The secrets are undone. Robyn's fragile castle. Meanwhile, Robyn Brown attempts to play the victim. Her constant refrain? I'm tired of being the villain. She wants Christine and Janelle to stop making everything about her. But Robyn, whether she realizes it or not, is central to this story because she was always treated differently. Kodys' favoritism wasn't subtle. The audience saw it. The kids saw it. The wives lived it. Janelle divulged something in this tell-all that shocked many. Kody and Robyn courted longer, deeper than any of the other wives. They kept it under wraps. How they met. They kept it under wraps how far along it was. And that secrecy, that deception, it makes sense. If I had a year with Kody before we got married, Janelle confessed, I wouldn't have married him. The charm would have worn off. I would have seen the real him. That charm Janelle speaks of? It's known as love bombing, a time-worn manipulation technique employed by abusers to entice their victims in a hurry, before they can be set straight. The truth about polygamy. Christine phrased it perfectly. I didn't know who Kody was until after we were married. He was nice, charming, goofy. Then he got serious, intense, controlling. It's the same cycle in these polygamous arrangements. Get the women on board quickly. Lock them down. Keep them secluded. Keep them guessing. And always, always pit them against one another. Kody and Robyn now complain that people are accusing them of always desiring only each other. But fans noticed all those years ago. The favoritism, the disparate energy, the sequestering of the other wives. Robyn had what the others never received: emotional closeness, partnership, respect. And the others were supposed to remain quiet about it. Gaslighting and ghosts. And now, Kody asserts everything said about him is simply internet hate. Just trolls, just lies. But this is not just commentary, it's testimony. It's women being heard at last. Kody's story continues to shift. First, Christine was simply moody. Then she was jealous. Then she was manipulative. He'll say anything, to hide his own part in this family's downfall. But audiences aren't ignorant. They witness the emotional withdrawal, the favoritism, the absence, and the most incriminating evidence, Robyn's smug comfort. She wasn't anxious, she wasn't lost, she wasn't surprised, because she knew she was the only true wife remaining. David, the unlikely hero, in a season long controlled by Kody's worldview, David is the first man to ever really speak truth to power. He took down the myths. He laid bare the control. He refused to mythologize the trauma. And he stood up for his wife with a dignity Kody never provided his. Christine and David embody not only a new beginning, but a revolutionary repudiation of all that sister wives previously normalized. They are the counter-narrative, the one we've waited years to see play out, one built on mutual respect, truth-telling, and emotional safety. And now that the season has ended, the truth lingers. Louder, sharper, braver. This isn't about jealousy, it's about freedom. If anyone ever had any question as to who was driving the narrative of the ascension and descent of the Brown family, it became excruciatingly evident in this last tell-all installment. Robyn always spoke for Kody, and not subtly. She adopted the role of wife with absolute definiteness, frequently inserting herself to define Kody's feelings and thinking as if she were his mouthpiece. Whereas the other wives were left to wonder where they stood, Robyn boldly claimed her position. And Kody, he allowed it. At times, Kody attempted to gaslight the viewers, telling us we never witnessed his favoritism, his skewed devotion. But when confronted, he yielded with a flimsy admission. Perhaps we were simply in denial. No, Kody, that was not denial. That was deceit, and Christine felt it acutely. She said as much. Kody and Robyn could have just been truthful from the beginning. The years of deception were not just lies. They were betrayal couched in manipulation. The agony could have been avoided, the devastation minimized. But instead, they took everyone, wives, children, fans, through an extended illusion. Until Kody finally came clean, we just wanted each other. The sex before marriage bombshell. The discussion got even more complicated when Kody's past sex life came into it. He confessed to premarital sex, but only Meri and Robyn were privy to the information. When Suki asked why Christine and Janelle hadn't been informed, the response stung. Janelle didn't waste any time because he was ashamed. Kody wouldn't have boasted about something like that back then. It would have compromised his whole stance in the church, his ceiling, his godly reputation. And she was right. Premarital sex in the Apostolic United Brethren, AUB, is a serious sin. If Kody had fessed up, he might have been disciplined by the church, or even had his sealing revoked. So instead of confessing, he covered it up. Yet another betrayal hidden below the surface of their spiritual covenant. The irony? Kody had the nerve to make Robyn give a public purity speech. She wept about how her purity had been taken from her by an old boyfriend, while Kody, never having been pure himself, stood there beside her like a saint with no sin. The hypocrisy? Blinding. And dodging questions, hiding truth. The most shocking moment came when the topic of Kody and Robyn's sex life entered the chat. Suki tried to navigate the discussion, lightly bringing up Kody's earlier admissions about Mormon naughtiness, referring to intimate, non-sexual experiences he had before marriage. But instead of having a mature conversation, Kody exploded. He suddenly shifted the tone, snapping, "We're not talking about my sexuality." It was defensive, abrupt, suspicious. Why assume that? Suki hadn't even mentioned his orientation. But Kody jumped straight to the conclusion that she was going there. And that's when fans recalled something unusual. An old interview in which Kody evasively spoke about a lover, without referring to him or her using gendered pronouns. The net was abuzz. Was he speaking of a man? No one was accusing him. No one was judging him. But the intensity of his reaction raised red flags. Why get so defensive about something you're not being asked? Kody claims he's straight. Fine, then why the panic? Why the shutdown? Why the refusal to talk? Was it fear, shame, or maybe a truth he can't say aloud? Whatever the reason, Kody's response wasn't just defensive, it was revealing. Robyn, loyalty, and lies. Then the talk turned to Robyn and her loyalty. Would she ever abandon him if Kody's rage just kept building? Kody conceded yes, she might. But then he watered it down. Even if we were broken up, we'd never speak ill of one another, he said. We love each other. We always will. And yet, fans recall Robyn's history. The public vilification of her ex-husband. She accused him of abuse, of being violent, of things that were never substantiated. If she treated the father of her children that way, why on earth should we expect her to treat Kody any differently? The reality is, Robyn plays the loyalty card, but her past suggests otherwise. David exposes the coward. As this section of the tell-all went on, David's previous words gained even greater significance. He had cautioned us. Kody is not only emotionally abusive, but spiritually manipulative as well. And now, Kody was revealing himself to us. A man who boasts about past transgressions, dodges tough questions, becomes defensive about his own identity, and uses his wives as shields in order to maintain his public image. David pointed it out, and Kody, rather than defending himself with class, lost it. His anger, his fear, his contradictions, everything poured out. This wasn't about religion or relationships anymore. It was about exposure. The mask was breaking. Final thoughts. The mask falls. By the end of the tell-all, Kody had opened himself up, and it wasn't pretty. His contradictions were on display. His hypocrisy was chronicled. His control methods were exposed. And through it all, Christine, Janelle, and David remained rock solid. They did not lash out. They did not scream. They spoke the truth. And that truth? It landed harder than any accusation ever could. For years, fans wondered if Kody was really the villain, or just misjudged. But now, they know. He was both the architect and the arsonist of his family's demise. And no amount of backtracking can take that away. This family's drama is far from over. So smash like if you're CH Team Wives, subscribe for the next explosive update, and drop a comment below. Who do you think will win? Stay shady, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next scandal. Unreal Tea out.